All right, welcome back to the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky, and we were just kind of talking about the Blackhawks, reviewing the thrilling Game 1 win, and now
Very
we're
exciting.
Very, very exciting, and now we're going to preview Game 2.
Yeah, I'm thinking in Game 2, as we said before we went
There'll
to
be more
break,
goals scored.
There's going to be more goals scored, a lot more shots, a lot more saves probably. I think both of the goalies, both Corey Crawford, especially Corey Crawford, is going to do another great job. But I think that they both will do a good job. But I'm thinking the Hawks are going to win this one. I'll say probably like 4-2, 4-3, something like that. I think would be a good final score. But I think the Hawks go up 2-0 and then go back to Chicago with a chance to sweep.
Yeah, that would be something. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Blackhawks are going to be able to take this one in probably what will be a kind of a back-and-forth game in terms of goal scoring.
That's what I'm thinking,
I think it'll be all one-goal leads throughout the whole game, unless someone
doesn't
scores.
Get more tense than that.
Unless someone scores an empty netter at the end. I want to say the Blackhawks are going to win this one. The only thing that's going against them is the sense of urgency for Tampa Bay because, I mean, if they lose this game, they're pretty cooked.
Right. That's true. And
they're in some hot water.
They are, and it's hot down there in Tampa Bay, too. Something a little off topic. I really like the Tampa Bay Lightning uniforms. I really like their jerseys.
Are really nice.
Yeah, I love that shade of blue, and I like their logo a lot, too, especially the white logo in the middle of their jersey. I mean, I love the Hawks jerseys too, but these might be the two best jerseys in hockey playing off against each other.
Yeah, the Blackhawks were voted as the best jerseys in all of sports a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and they certainly are one of the most recognized logos in all of sports too. So
yes, and now I think it's okay. We can transition over to baseball. And before we talk about the Cubs and the White Sox, I'd like to first talk about the Astros and finally removing Tal's Hill from center field.
Yeah, I think that's long overdue, as you said in your update.
Long overdue. I remember the Cubs and Astros used to be in the same division. Yes, that does feel like a while ago. Except
it does. It was only a couple seasons.
Yeah, I mean, every time I saw someone run up that hill, they'd fall down, the ball would drop, and then it'd be like a triple when it should have been an out. And every time I saw someone run up that hill, they'd fall down.
Why was it put there in the first place? Is there an explanation for that, or it's just something that they thought looked cool?
I haven't looked into that.
It's crazy.
I'm just going to assume it had. It might have it may be named after a former player named Tal. I'm not 100% sure. The spelling Tal doesn't really ring a bell for a former player. I don't know. That thing should have been removed a long time ago because that's like a hazard. Because what if a guy runs up and falls down and then the baseball falls and hits him?
I mean, there's been a lot of nice catches on that, but there's also been many more miscues from there.
What happens if a guy falls down and the ball comes down and hits him in the face or hits him in the leg or something and he gets
right, and anyway, I mean, it's kind of hard to run uphill when you're like turning backwards trying to find the ball.
Trying to find the ball, yeah. I mean, because the ball is hit towards Tal's Hill. It's a pretty hard hit.
Yeah.
I mean, you really have to get all of it to hit it into Tal's Hill.
Right. I don't know. It's definitely a good thing they're doing. I do like that ballpark, though. I'm a fan of Minute Maid Ballpark. Yeah. I like how it looks. I like sort of the setup that they have, although I agree. I don't like that hill.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like 400. I believe Tal's Hill, it's like registered at 436 feet. So, I mean, I don't know if they'll move the fence in or they're just going to remove the hill and keep it.
They'll probably just remove the hill.
That's
what I'm thinking. I mean, it is kind of hard to hit a home run there unless you're hitting it
down
to the sides. Yeah.
I mean, that's an interesting ballpark because I remember I was watching a game when the Cubs played there, and Aramis Ramirez hit a home run in the first inning, might have gone in the third row of the Crawford boxes. Then he came up with bases loaded late in the game, and he clobbered the ball. It looked like he got all of it, and it was caught at the wall in deep left center where they got those like high gates.
Yeah, they do.
And I remember the announcers are saying, the funny thing is, he hit that ball harder than he hit the home run.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. And, obviously when you're hitting it to left center, straightaway center, or right center, it's always more difficult.
Yeah.
It's especially there.
And I know
it sort of reminds me of Detroit's ballpark, where it's very deep in center field.
Very deep.
Too.
Yeah, Detroit should probably do something about that high right center field wall, or move that fence in a little bit, because that's tough to hit a home run. And I know whenever I'll play, whenever I play MLB The Show, or back when I used to play MLB 2K before I got a PlayStation. Whenever you'd hit at Minute Maid Park, whenever you'd hit a ball towards Taos Hill, the ball marker would never show up. The ball would always fall down. You'd have to either try to find the ball yourself or just let it hit the hill and then pick it up.
That's nice.
So, I mean, because even the games don't like Taos Hill.
No, of course not. Speaking of the Astros and stuff, we'll start talking about the White Sox first, since they, earlier in, I think that was last weekend, they lost to the Houston Astros, but they did win the series.
They did win the series.
Which was very impressive, but of course, right when the White Sox leave and then the Astros go back on a roll again. I know they lost today, but they've been playing some great baseball.
Yeah, Adam Jones hit an 8th-inning go-ahead home run against Chad Qualls.
Yeah, and yes, he did, and they've been playing some great baseball, and it's surprising to see that I think they've reached 30 wins already, so they're really
off
doing
to the
well.
best 30-game or 50-game start in franchise history.
Yeah, which that doesn't surprise me. They really only had a couple good years. I think they were good in 04 and 05 when they went to the World Series.
Yeah, they were good in 06 too.
Yeah,
I remember they were pretty good in 06.
And they, ever since then, I mean, they weren't really good throughout the 70s and 80s, I don't think. And then, so it's been a while.
Yeah, they've only had one World Series appearance, and that was in 2005.
Right. So it's very interesting. But yeah, as far as the White Sox are concerned, they got absolutely blown out by Texas. I think it was 15-2 was the final
Joey
score.
Gallo's debut, and Jeff Samardzij's ERA, I think, went up to 4.74.
Yeah, that, for some reason, it doesn't surprise me. I don't know. I mean, I liked Jeff Samardzija when he was with the Cubs, and he started to pitch very well. But once he got traded to Oakland, something happened. He didn't pitch very well in Oakland. And then when he got picked up by the White Sox during the offseason, I felt like he wasn't going to be as good as everyone was saying he was going to be.
No, I didn't think he was. Either I thought he'd have like maybe a mid-3s, high-3s ERA, like a 3.80, except it's really...
Yeah, he wasn't a number two. He didn't seem like a number two.
Has been a tale of two Samardzijas, because he's never had like those... He hasn't had a single like mediocre outing. He's either been really good or really bad.
Right.
And when he's good, he's been pretty good, and when he's bad, he is awful. And for whatever reason, Robin Ventura leaves him in. Like I remember that game against the Orioles. He had allowed 7 runs in 3 innings, and Robin Ventura had him pitch 6 innings.
Well, his pitch count must have been low enough, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, the way Robin Ventura handles his pitchers just boggles me, because...
I hate how he handles his bullpen, too.
I hate how he leaves his starters in for so long, because... I remember when Bobby Valentine was the manager of the Red Sox, his only season before he got fired.
Was that a debacle?
Yeah, I remember John Lester had pitched a horrible game through like 4 innings. He gave up like 8 runs or something, or maybe 8 runs through 3 innings. And Bobby Valentine had him pitch 5 innings, and he gave up like 11 or 12 runs. And then after the game, Dustin Pedroia and Jacoby Ellsworth, they were all criticizing and like saying awful things about Bobby Valentine, like how much how you don't just keep a guy out there while he's embarrassing himself. That's why you take him out. You don't just let him keep pitching and allowing a bunch of home runs.
Right.
And I don't know why Robin Ventura continues to leave his guys in when they keep allowing runs.
Yeah, it's he must have just thought that the game was already over in that point. But they did do well the night after that.
Yeah, Chris Sale, except the bullpen came in and tried to blow it, though.
They did.
Zach Duke and Jacob Petruchka came in.
Joey Gallo did good again.
Yeah, he had 3 strikeouts and a home run. He took, I believe it was Zach Duke deep.
I think you're right. I think it was Zach Duke.
It's either Zach Duke or Jake Petruchka, because both of them gave up runs.
And, of course, Jose Abreu did really good in that game, too. He had a home run, right?
He did in his first game back from that swollen pinky finger injury.
Yeah. So, Sox, have
swollen
been...
index finger.
Yeah, so they've been pretty typical, as far as the last few weeks have been concerned. Up and down, up and down.
Yeah, the funny thing is... before the Monday game against the Rangers, the Tuesday game against the Rangers started, the 15-2 game, before that game, Kenny Williams called the season an embarrassment. And then that game happened. And then after the game, Rick Hahn was talking about how his moves in the offseason to put the Sox in a good position to be active buyers at the trade deadline, and that he likes the way his club has been playing. And I'm just thinking, what team are you watching play?
Right. It's like it's
infuriating. I mean, like I my friends are infuriated by like some of the remarks that he says. I mean, I don't know why you just go and say, "Oh yeah, we're having a good season, so we're going to be buyers at the trade deadline." Right after your vice president, the guy who's ahead of you, goes and calls the season an embarrassment.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has been an embarrassment. I mean, after all the offseason moves that they made and everything, to come out like this and be, I think they're in last place still, aren't they?
Yeah, in their division, and I saw a stat that in all the let me pull it up. In all of the important all the good offensive statistics,
yeah, they're like in last. Right?
They're in like the bottom 4. I'm going to pull that up.
Right, I think I heard that too. I know they're like in like everything that you're supposed to be, in the tops of, or at least
because they're supposed to be really good
and stuff.
And I mean, I really just kind of wonder, like, why doesn't Jerry Reinsdorf try to hire a smarter, like a baseball star, like try to hire someone that knows what he's doing? Because I mean, obviously, this regimen is not getting it done. I mean, it really is. They're not getting it done. I know home runs. The Sox were 28th in the American League, or in the MLB. They were 29th in runs scored. Batting average, they're like 27th. Because if you look at their lineup every day, there's only one guy that's hitting above 250.
Yeah, that's very embarrassing.
It absolutely is embarrassing, considering
it's actually
when they made all these moves, they're like, oh yeah, we're winning the division, and Rick Hahn said as usual, like what he says every year, the White Sox are going to win the World Series, and then it never happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's almost strange that they've won as many games that they had, considering how bad the offense is statistically. I mean, I know that they get, some clutch hits, and the offense will break out like 2 games a week. But other than that, I mean, you're getting blown out, and you're not even in the game.
I mean, when I watch them, to me, it's just new players, same result as the last 2 years. And as we've said, Rick Hahn called himself, said he had one of the greatest off seasons in MLB history, and Hawk Harrelson agreed with him.
Well, of course.
And I'm just kind of thinking, well, yes, your offseason, it wasn't like the Padres where they traded for a bunch of guys and then signed James Shields. The White Sox, they traded for Samardzija and signed a bunch of free agents. Well, signing a bunch of free agents really doesn't work, especially when none of them perform. And
yeah, I mean, obviously it's been a bust because Melky Cabrera hasn't done anything.
Yeah, he has 1 home run and 2 doubles and a .240 batting average.
Horrible.
Yeah, for a 3-year, $45 million player.
That's going to be a bad 3 years.
And the thing is, they still have a major holes at third base and catcher. Third base is a position that you want elite production from.
Mm-hmm.
And as we said, Connor Gillespie's not a good third baseman, except if you put him at second base, his numbers would look a lot better.
Yeah, they would. And
Tyler Flowers is just a terrible catcher.
Yeah, Tyler Flowers is bad. Giovanni Soto is worse. So it's not good.
Yeah, Flowers is hitting 195 right now, and
Major League catcher hitting 195. How embarrassing!
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Jared Saltalamacchia was a free agent, and they didn't sign him, and Rick Hahn said that he loves the way he thinks Tyler Flowers does an amazing job handling the pitching staff, even though the Sox have one of the worst pitching staffs every year. Which, I mean, he doesn't call a good game. He can't hit. He doesn't throw out any base runners. When you and me went to the game against the Indians a couple weeks ago, they stole 4 bases off of him.
Yeah, they
did. They stole 4 bases off of Tyler Flowers.
And of course, Tyler Flowers had no offense to go with that. So
yeah, and Rick Hahn says he's a great catcher. And no, you need to trade for somebody. You need to get and like Flowers is not a good pitch framer.
Right.